Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction. Today, we find ourselves at the beautiful virtual Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, where it is going to be quite the race here today. Canadian Tire Motorsports, it's known for having some very tricky, kind of blind, uphill, decreasing, increasing apex turns. As we watch in the background, Steele takes a wild ride in the Daytona Prototype car. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East in the booth, bringing the action 1080p at 60 frames a second. As open qualifying is currently underway, and my oh my, what an exciting night it is going to be here today. If this qualifying session is Indy indicators, we watch Steele number 69 machine get launched into orbit for the second time in his Daytona Prototype. It is going to be quite the exciting night for all these competitors, if that's going to be the name of the game here. We're going to watch Kai Shapper, number 2, the Aston Martin, out there on track trying to make something happen. It is a 15-minute open qualifying session, followed by a 45-minute feature event. Three different classes out on track right now. The LMP2 drivers, the GT1s, and the Daytona Prototype. No GT2 drivers able to make it here today, as you're watching Kai Shappert and his GT1 Aston Martin out there clicking them off. Today we've got 4 LMP2 drivers, we have 3 GT1 drivers, and then we've got 4 Daytona Prototype drivers. So everybody in each class going to have a lot of folks to really shake things up with and battle around. Point of interest, Alex Penn, the previous LMP2 driver. His team was unable to get that race car put back together after the hard crash we saw last week. So he'll be out here in a Daytona Prototype here today. As we watch Kai Shepard blister through, I believe that's going to be 5A and 5B. He just came through of Moss Corner as he's going to charge back down the Mario Andretti straightaway. A quite fast section before the sharp right-hander heading into the S's here at Canadian Motorsports. Now it's going to be interesting. Last week we saw the lead cars kind of have several strings of bad luck, constantly finding themselves in some single car incidents. But Daniel Beauchamp puts it on top of provisional pole so far, clicking off a fantastic time in his LMP2 with a 1 minute 8 second .24. As Andrew Neri, his teammate in the number 8 machine, with a 1 minute 09.16. Now out of those 2 drivers, Beauchamp is usually one of the quicker guys out there. But let's see, as we've also got Kai Demrest, number 42 machine, who has not put down a qualifying time in his LMP2. Will he be able to catch Beauchamp with the Team Goon Squad Alien, or will these guys have to settle for a 2nd or 3rd place finish here tonight? As we're expecting quite the exciting race each and every week. It's a lot of fun out here at the Legacy Sports Car Series. A very inexpensive series to get into, no entry fee. And some of the cars can be bought for as cheap as $3. Now we saw a bit of swerving there from Demrest. I'm not sure if he's maybe trying to allow a teammate to catch up to him and maybe get a tow. But let's see what Demrest can do on his first time lapped. You're on board with the Kai Demrest, the number 42 machine. Shows just how technical this racetrack can really be, as it is very, very tough to make your way around. And we're going to pull up the points here and give everybody an update of what's going on. It's going to be another great night here tonight. Now, Demrest, you're currently on board with, he is 5th in points in the LMP2 class. Up front, it's Nick Terrell. Alex Penn is in 2nd. Cody Ledford 3rd. Casey Carrott's in 4th before we come back to Demrest in 5th point. So it's going to be a few new faces as Daniel Beauchamp makes his first appearance. Kai Demrest returns after a long break. Andrew Neri's first time in the LMP2 class. Now, Andrew Neri is still 2nd in points for the GT2 class as well. So it's going to be interesting to see the how and why he finds himself in LMP2 here today. In the GT1 class, it's DJ Weeks Jr. up in front. Kai Shepard is 2nd in points. Maximilian Petrovsky 3rd. Charles Bochelle 4th. Jason Connolly 5th. Back out on track today in the number 66 machine. And then you've got Robert Hill Jr. 6th in points. Daytona Prototype has been quite a wild race all season long. He's got Johnny Eckert out front, Ahmed the Echo in 2nd, Jack Forsey 3rd, and Carola Steele in 4th. As for the team points, it is still Outlaw Racing out in front. Pinarchy is in 2nd. Team Goon Squad is in 3rd. Oblivion Racing is in 4th. And then you've got Alpha Ravioli currently 5th in points out on track. Terrell, the number 81 machine, has gotten very close to Daniel Beauchamp's qualifying time. Terrell clicked off a 1 minute 8 second .95. He finds himself about 3/10 slower than Daniel Beauchamp in the 4.51. So we might see some fantastic. Really, all of the LMP2 drivers are within 1 second of each other. And Jack Force, the number 74 machine, is currently on top of his class in the Daytona Prototypes. He's clicked off a 1 minute 14.39 his last time by. Now, it's always an interesting dynamic. These Daytona Prototypes can run very similar lap times to some of their friends who are in the GT1 class. So often you see some good multi-car battles is just ahead of Forcey. You've got somebody taking a wild ride. That is going to be Eckert in the number 90 machine, who has not put down he has put down one qualifying time so far, a 1 minute 15.07. So he's about a second off the pace from current class leader in qualifying, Jack Forcey. Only about 5 minutes remaining in qualifying as Jack Forcey not able to best his previous best lap time. But keep an eye on the LMP2s, the signified by yellow in the top left hand of your screen. That is going to be where a lot of the action is, as Demarest puts down his fastest lap time, a 1 minute 8 second .65. He is 1/10 off the pace from Nick Terrell. But look at this. Old Danny Beauchamp puts down another fastest lap time, a 1 minute 7 second .81, a full second faster than any other drivers in the LMP2s. We might see quite the battle shake up here after all. Last week we saw a lot of carnage. Drivers would take the lead and then find themselves careening off the track into their nearest wall. So it's going to be interesting to see if we have that again or if it's going to keep it nice and clean out front. Over a 45-minute race, it is a lot of time for air, so it's going to be a game of consistency for all of these athletes. Four minutes left in qualifying here today. Are we going to see Terrell in the number 81 machine catch up to Beauchamp's fast lap time, the fastest lap out of any car on the track, currently owned by the Englishman, the 4.51 machine? Terrell blisting around at over speeds of an excess of 240 kilometers an hour as he just hits 250 before having to get back on the brakes. These LMP2 drivers absolutely flying. These high downforce machines are fastest and easiest to drive when driven aggressively. If you start to slow down, you can find yourself losing that downforce that keeps you glued to the racetrack. As Terrell's last time by does click off his fastest lap of the race and then sends it careening around. Kai Demarest, number 42 machine, he gets a little bit faster as well, besting his previous lap time and now getting into the low 1 minute 8s, propelling himself to second in qualifying for the LMP2 drivers. Jason Connolly still up front for the GT1s. Jack Forcey on top of the leaderboard for the Daytona Prototype class. Now, all the Daytona Prototype drivers are within 3/10 of each other for qualifying, so not a lot of separates really any of these drivers. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things shake up. It's going to be a game of making the least amount of mistakes and keeping the tires underneath you. For our 45-minute feature race, it is usually a one-stop strategy for all these competitors unless they find themselves in some slightly dinged-up race cars. As Andrew Neri using up every inch of racetrack he can to carry as much speed as possible in his Honda LMP2. And again, this is one of those one of those cars you can get out there for very, very cheap. It is $3 on the iRacing service to get one of these LMP2s. So the Honda ARX 01C, one of those $3 machines you can get out here and race with, as well as the Riley Daytona Prototype, another $3 car. So for a free league to get into, you too can just spend $3 on a car, and if you don't already have it, plus the tracks you'll need, you can come join the guys at Legacy Sports Cars running every Saturday. Always a lot of good fun and clean racing among these competitors. We are currently on round 8 out of this season. Next week we go to Motegi for the Twin Ring, another 45-minute race, then Silverstone, and then an undecided race. September 4th is going to be up to a driver vote before our season finale, September 11th at Homestead, the Speedway Road Course B as in Bravo. So lots of racing still left in the season, as we are about roughly 3/4 of the way through it. Qualifying is going to come to an end. Then we're going to send our drivers out for the main event. But as always, thank you to all of our friends, fans, and family from across the world that tune in to support their favorite drivers here at the Legacy Sports Car Series. We have a lot of fun each and every week, as do our drivers. So thank you so much to all of you at home. We could not do it without you. It helps the support your favorite drivers in their league racing shenanigans. And we definitely notice the people that tune in every week and greatly appreciate them. So as qualifying ends, are we going to see some new winners here today? Daniel Beauchamp making his first appearance, searching for a win. Andrew Neri, first time in the LMP2 class, he's going to be searching for a win. Jason Connolly qualified on top for the GT1s. Johnny Eckert qualified on top for the Daytona Prototypes. It is going to be quite the interesting night here today, as a lot of competitors are going to be out there trying to make something happen. And let's run it through the starting grid here for tonight. Up front, qualifying in pole, Daniel Beauchamp, number 451 machine with his first appearance. Kai Demrest, number 42, will be starting second here today. Nick Terrell, the number 81, starting third overall and in class for the LMP2 drivers. Jason Connolly, the number 66 machine, will be starting fifth on the grid. Johnny Eckert qualifying on top for the Daytona Prototypes. He'll be sixth on the grid in the number 90 machine. Kai Schapper, number 2, will be starting 7th in his Aston Martin. Jack Forcing, the Daytona Prototype, will be starting 8th in the 74 machine. DJ Weeks Jr. in his Corvette, the number 997, starting 9th tonight. Alex Penn, a fill-in for the Daytona Prototypes, unable to get his LMP2 back out on track this weekend, will be starting 10th. And then Carolus Steele, the world-famous driver from Alfa Ravioli Yoo-Hoo Racing, starting in the number 69 machine, will be 11th on the grid for the biggest grid we've had so far this season. But we're getting ready to send out these drivers. It is guaranteed to be a good one here today at Canadian Motorsports Park. We're going to lead them out underway here and get ready to get this party started. It's going to be Daniel Beauchamp, Kai Demrest, your front row, Nick Terrell, Andrew Neri, your second row. They're going to take quite the long siding lap behind the iRacing Porsche safety car. Hopefully this will be the only lap the safety car has to make today. It is only localized cautions unless there is a incident that blocks the entirety of the racetrack. About a 2.5 mile raceway here in Canada. As 11 cars take to the grid, it's guaranteed to be very, very exciting. A lot of new faces and different cars. Pace car will be making its way in this time by, and then we're going to light the lights here. And away they go as the field gets a little bit stacked up. Daniel Beauchamp hard on the gas. Nick Terrell, he looks into the inside of Kai Demrest, but is he going to make it stick as Demrest is on the outside? Terrell's going to follow in tow. Andrew Neri goes off track, able to collect himself. Alex Penn also having a moment. Look at that. There goes Nick Terrell. Sliding number 81 machine, can he keep it off the wall? And the next question is, can he keep it out of traffic? As the rest of the field able to get through clean, but Terrell's going to have a long race to go here. That is 3 Team Goon Squad cars up front. Daniel Beauchamp, Kai Demrest, Andrew Neri. Are we going to see the drivers maintain their position, or are we going to see a classic team takeout as Kai Demrest goes for a wild ride? That's going to allow Andrew Neri through, as Demrest is going to have to park it to wait for the entirety of the field to come through. Gets pointed in the right back direction, but no, he spins it again. Demrest with huge problems. He gets into Steele. With a bad track re-entry, the number 42 machine gets Kai Demrest, the LMP2 driver, gets into Carol Steele, the Daytona Prototype driver. And let's look at this battle for the GT1 class. That's Jason Connolly, Kai Shappert, accompanied by Johnny Eckert. Kai Shappert currently second in class, and the number 2 machine is Aston Martin. He's got 3 very fast Daytona Prototype drivers right behind him. It's going to be Eckert, Forsey, Penn, all running very, very close together here. But so far, we've seen a couple little incidents early on in the night, but these guys able to keep it pointing in the right direction for the most part. It's still Beauchamp out front with a very comfortable 10-second lead over Jason Connolly. Andrew Neri having his own set of issues, the LMP2 driver. With the Daytona Prototype guys putting on a fantastic show, because here comes Nick Terrell on the number 81 machine. We saw that early off track, very early in the race. But look at this, does Andrew Neri have problems? He does, he brings it into pit lane. The number 8 machine having to come in quite early to maybe get some repairs done on his machine. What a night it has been for LMP2 drivers. As Dana Beauchamp, the only LMP2 driver to keep it clean. Alex Penn, he gets punted off the track. Oh, almost avoids the tire wall, the safety barrier, but he does tag that back right. How much damage is he going to have? As now you've got two drivers that may be driving around a little bit of damage. That's going to be Kai Demarest and Nick Terrell trying to cut through the Daytona Prototype drivers. They have to be very, very cautious here of the closing speeds. And how much damage do these two LMP2 drivers have early on? It is a 45-minute feature race, so nobody wants to have damage early on here. As you're going to watch Terrell and Demarest both try and get around Eckert. Terrell does it nice and clean. Demarest not so lucky cutting through the traffic here. So this is the battle for third overall and second in class for our two Daytona Prototype drivers. It's Nick Terrell, number 81 machine, being chased by Kai Demarest in the 42. We have reason to believe both of these drivers had a bit of damage as Terrell goes off track. That is going to allow Demarest to swing on by, hits him with the high beam, saying, hey buddy, I'm right here. We're having a whole lot of fun with our friends out on track right now. So Demarest is going to move up to third overall and second in class. And now I believe Demarest is going to catch, who is that? Is that Neri? No, that's going to be Jason Connolly, second overall, first in class for our GT1 drivers. So in class is Beauchamp up front, Connolly for the GT1 class, and then Eckert is currently leading the Daytona Prototypes. But we've seen a lot of action. We've got 40 minutes left in this main event. As everybody doing a very good job holding on to it so far. Here comes Demarest. He's going to get around the inside of Connolly. And Nick Terrell's also going to fall around as well. So now it is three LMP2 drivers back out front, with Beauchamp, Demarest, Terrell leading their respective classes. Excuse me, running first through third in the LMP2 class. It's still Beauchamp out front for the LMP2s, Connolly leading for the GT1s, and Eckert leading for the Daytona Prototypes. Eckert, number 90 machine, he's got Jack Forsey right behind him, just 1 second back, as Eckert's going to get around Kai Schapper, the GT1 driver. Both of these classes able to run extremely similar lap times out here today. Everybody doing a great job. Jack Forsey still trying to get around Kai Schapper so he can battle for that class lead. Schapper is also a second in his class for the GT1s. Here's the battle for second overall and second in class for our LMP2 drivers. It's Demarest and Terrell. Two drivers that can never, ever seem to really get away from each other no matter the type of racing. So good to see them out here running strong together. As Demarest's last time by, a 1 minute 9 second .49 compared to Terrell's 1 minute 09.54. So both these competitors running very, very similar lap times. They're about 24 seconds back from class and overall leader Daniel Beauchamp. As each of these drivers trying to pressure each other to see who can push just a little bit faster. We're going to cycle back just a little bit further in the field to Jack Forsey and Johnny Eckert. This is your battle for the lead in the Daytona Prototype class. Forsey's been able to get around the GT1 driver of Kai Shappert running the number 2 Aston Martin. Very impressed with these drivers. Look how much Forsey is trying to use every inch of this track to maybe catch a little bit of speed to catch up to Jumpin' Johnny Eckert, the number 90 machine. About 1 second separates our drivers here. So we're seeing some great battles all the way around. This is the battle for the lead in the Daytona Prototype class between Eckert and Forsey. Meanwhile, you still have quite a battle between Nick Terrell and Kai Demarest, the LMP2 drivers. So is Demarest going to be able to answer and catch back up to Nick Terrell here after that off track? We can get a quick replay of that and just watch it in super slow-mo. So this is the pass for second in the LMP2 class as Demarest goes off track, allowing Terrell to get through the easy way. Luckily, no contact among these drivers. Everybody able to keep it nice and clean as Demarest hanging it out Tokyo drift style in that LMP2. Definitely not a premier-made off-road machine, so good to see him get it pointing in the right direction and get back in the race. But now he's going to have to work away at that 2-second advantage that Nick Terrell currently has. And you've got to wonder as well, does Demarest take any body damage to the bottom of that LMP2 or suspension damage, as they are not made for anything remotely close to bumpy. Up front, it's Daniel Beauchamp making it look easy. He's got a 26 advantage over the entire field at minimum. He's already lapped Andrew Neri, Alex Penn. Now he's trying to catch up to DJ Weiss Jr. About 12 seconds separates those drivers. But before we're going to see the world-famous radical driver cutting through traffic. Always a great time seeing him out here at the LMP2. Something we're not quite used to seeing him drive around, but he makes it look oh so easy as always. And we've got an incident here. Nick Terrell, he has a crash. Just like that, Demarest is back on the rear of the number 81 machine. The battle for second for the LMP2 drivers. So while we have a quick moment, let's see if we can catch what happened to Nick Terrell to trigger that crash. Actually, we're going to wait on that. It looks like Kai Demarest, number 42 machine, is starting to make a move here. Look at that. He looks to the inside going into turn one. Is not going to be able to make it stick, but this is where we saw Demarest go off earlier as well, allowing Terrell to get through nice and easy. We don't dare pan the camera away here as these guys are going to be putting on a show. I'm under the impression that both of these drivers are driving around with a small amount of damage, but with these small incidents that both of these drivers have had, it's going to be a game of who's able to save the car towards the end. We still have over 30 minutes of action left in today's show. As Demarest still looking at the inside of Terrell. Terrell spins it! Gets into Demarest, is outside! What a night here on LMP2. Terrell's going to hold on to second place. Demarest in third. Out front, Daniel Beauchamp. He's in front. The lone Englishman, the number 451 machine for the LMP2 and overall lead. Jason Connolly still leading the GT1 class. He is fourth overall. And then you've got Jumpin' Johnny Eckert in the Daytona Prototype. He's leading his class as well. But man, what a night of action for this second place in LMP2 drivers. Both these guys putting on one fantastic show here. Last time by, Terrell with a 1 minute 12.36. Demarest with a 1 minute 12.53. Now both of these guys are 3 seconds off the pace from race leader Daniel Beauchamp, but they've spent so much time battling each other, they haven't even thought about, putting their head down together, maybe clicking off some lap times. Both these guys are battling hard for that number 2 spot. I've got to say, put on quite the show here tonight. Terrell seems to be a bit faster. I'm not sure if he's got less damage than Demarest in the number 42 machine, as he's about half a second faster that last time by. Demarest about 0.6 seconds back on track. They're going to have lap traffic ahead of them. I believe that's going to be the world-famous Alex Penn, the road race and kart racing extraordinaire, who will be just in front of him in the Daytona Prototype. And we still have some of the usual suspects missing today. Casey Carrington not able to make it on track. Cody Ledford not here. Maximilian Petrovsky, Mark Proctor, some of the usual names and faces here at the Legacy Sports Car Series not able to make it tonight to join for the biggest grid of the season. As look at the damage on the front of Alex Penn's number 30 Skip Barber sponsored race machine. That poor race car looks awful. Nick Terrell, Kai Demarest able to cut through lap traffic nice and easy. Demarest has worked down that gap to only 0.25 seconds. So he's got the draft of Nick Terrell, but these guys have to be careful. We've seen both of these drivers make little bobbles that sent those race cars careening around in very inopportune spots. Demarest, he has a slight off track as there. It's going to lose a little bit of momentum going down the start-finish line straight here at Canadian. Both of these second and third place LMP2 drivers running very, very similar on lap times. It's just a game of capitalize. I'm not sure who has the most damage here. Both these drivers have been tagged in a couple of small incidents so far here tonight. This is the battle for second on screen for the overall finish as well as the LMP2s. As Beauchamp out front, the number 451 machine, a commanding lead on the entirety of the field. He's about 35 seconds over second place overall, Nick Terrell. Meanwhile, you've got Jason Connolly leading the GT1 class and Jumpin' Johnny Eckert leading the Daytona Prototypes. The field are pretty well and stretched out here except for the battle for second place between Terrell and Demarest. It looks like Terrell might be finding a little bit more speed. He was 3/10 of a lap faster that last time by. But it's going to be interesting to see when these two drivers come into pit lane for their final and only pit stop of the race. You may see both these drivers waiting equal amounts of time to try and get some repairs done on these very sensitive LMP2s. Oh no! Demarest spins it around, sends it careening around. He is all but thrown away a second place battle here. That's going to allow Nick Terrell to get nice and through. He's getting around Steele, number 69 machine. Steele also with a heavily damaged Daytona Prototype. That seems to be a common factor here at Canadian Tire. Demarest is going to find himself about 10 seconds back away from Nick Terrell as the field has massively spread out here today. Kai Demarest brings it into pit lane a little bit early, almost not quite at the halfway mark here tonight. So let's take a lap on board with Daniel Beauchamp and the Honda LMP2s and see what a fast lap looks like from your overall race leader's point of view, who just clicked off his fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 08.32. That is a 1 minute 08.52 looks like from the fastest car on track, Daniel Beauchamp. He's only 2/10 off from his fastest lap so far this race, not even running a qualifying trim, just finding a setup that overall suits him very well and allows him to click off very fast and consistent laps. And that has been the name of the game for Beauchamp, who's been consistent all night long. Kai Shappert, he's going to retire early, number 2 GT1 driver. Let's see if we can get maybe a word with him. As he will retire early in the GT1 car. Hate to see it for one of the newcomers to this series. He always does a great job, just not having a great night here tonight. Daniel Beauchamp getting around careless Steele, who's coming into pit lane to get his race car worked on and maybe for his one pit stop of the night. Now, when we say one pit stop, we mean these drivers have to put down at least one fuel stop to make it all the way to the end here. Nick Terrell in second place overall and second in class, cutting through traffic. Just ahead of him, he's got jumping Johnny Eckert, the number 90 machine. Eckert currently leading the Daytona Prototype drivers around here at Canadian Motorsports. Cutting through traffic, making it look easy. He's about 40 seconds back from overall and class leader Daniel Beauchamp. As the LMP2 drivers are getting quite spread out after several early incidents here today. A lot of drivers having horrific luck. Now Terrell, he's about 57 seconds ahead of third in class and third overall, Kai Demarest. Demarest, he spent about 56, 57 seconds on his total pit lane time from the time he crossed the first set of cones to the time he crossed the second set of cones. So what's going to happen here is Terrell takes his one pit stop of the night. And how far ahead or behind will Demarest be once that pit cycle really finish up? I guess the question also remains is when are we going to see Danny Beauchamp come into pit lane as well? Johnny Eckert completes his pit cycle as well as DJ Weeks Jr. We've got about 20 minutes left to go in tonight's feature event. These guys have already clicked off 23 laps so far. Jason Connolly, the class leader for the GT1, number 66. Ashton Martin brings it into pit lane a little bit right on time. We tried getting Kai Shappert's attention to see if he wanted to talk to us from pit wall, but Shappert has completely left the racetrack. Loaded up the hauler and headed home after a rough night in his number 2 machine, Aston Martin. Still have 10 drivers out on track making their way around. Andrew Neri comes into pit lane. Danny Beauchamp comes into pit lane. Jack Forsey is in his pit stall as well for the Daytona Prototypes. Now Demarest was in his pit box for 30 seconds. We're expecting about the same from race leader Daniel Beauchamp. Now Nick Terra will take over the overall and the class lead, but he has not pitted yet. Beauchamp was in his pit stall for 31 seconds. He's going to get back out on track after a 58.8 second total pit lane delta time. But how is this going to cycle out once Terrell finally comes into pit lane? Is he going to be ahead or behind Kai Demarest? His race rival, as both of those guys have traded back and forth all night long. But now that we have a break in action, let's cycle back to lap 11 and see what happened to Terrell in that early incident. So this is the lap 1 moment that Terrell had earlier on tonight that allowed Demarest to very quickly catch up. And oh, there it is. Put a couple of wheels in the grass. And wow, look at the air that Terrell got in number 81 machine. So I think that answered our questions. I think all the LMP2 drivers have, except Daniel Beauchamp, have a little bit of damage now. Beauchamp's going to come back around and pass Terrell while he's in pit lane. But where is Demarest going to be as he comes out and tries to catch up to Nick Terrell? Terrell's still about 55 seconds ahead of him before he came into pit lane. So are we going to see Demarest come out a few seconds behind of Terrell? Nick Terrell, he's leaving the pit lane after a minute and 5 seconds is his total pit lane time. That's going to allow Demarest just in front of him, but who's going to have the best tires here? Because Demarest came in on lap 17, so he's on 7 lap older tires than Terrell will be. And it is a 2.8 second difference between our two drivers. Current class leader still Beauchamp out front for the LMP2s, Connolly for the GT1, and Forsey is in the front for the Daytona Prototypes. We're going to cycle back and see what's going on there, as Johnny Eckert is going to be heavily pressuring the number 74 machine with 15 minutes left in the race. Are we going to see Forsey pull off something spectacular here and maybe pull up a race win? Because behind him, they've got lap traffic as well. I believe that's going to be Andrew Neri in the 654 machine trying to get back. No, that is going to be Beauchamp, the race leader. Oh! Who is that? That's Demarest, the number 42 machine, second overall, is trying to cut through traffic to keep Nick Terrell at bay. Now it's going to be Terrell's turn to cut through traffic here. Now the LMP2 drivers have to know, while they would like the blue flags to be respected, these drivers in front of them are racing for a class lead as well. So you saw Demarest aggressively punch through traffic, and that is going to keep Terrell at bay for a little while longer, as Demarest is extending the lead to about 3 point, not even the lead, the second place advantage to about 4 seconds. As Terrell in the all black number 81 is trying to cut through these guys, looking for a hole to get around. He's going to swing to the outside, see if he can have it on the Mario Andretti section of the racetrack. He's going to get through nice and clean, but it's still going to be Eckert and Forsey going side by side. Eckert has the speed on the outside, Forsey has the inside line, but now it's going to be Eckert's turn. Oh, they almost made contact coming out in the start-finish line straight. Who's going to have the better drive here as Eckert puts himself a setup for a possible inside move? It looks like he's going to have it going into turn 1 as Forsey tries to carry as much speed and keep Eckert stuck to the inside of the track, not allowing the number 90 machine to drift wide and carry any extra momentum, but it does not matter. Eckert's going to take over back of the race lead for the Daytona Prototypes. Will Forsey have anything left for him to catch up? Forsey, the number 74 machine, is going to be driving the wheels off of his Daytona Prototype machine to try and stay with Eckert, who's about 0.55 seconds ahead of him. For the LMP2 drivers, it is still Daniel Beauchamp up front, Kai Demarest second. Terrell is third in class and overall. For the GT1 drivers, you've got Jason Connolly with a very comfortable lead in class. He doesn't have really much to worry about, as DJ Weeks Jr. is about 40 seconds back from the GT1 leader. And then we've already talked about Kai Shappert, and the number 2 machine has retired early from tonight's race. And then for Daytona Prototypes, you've got the current battle on screen. Johnny Eckert leading, Jack Forsey second, Alex Penn third, Carolus Steele is fourth. But look at this back up front. Danny Beauchamp has once again clicked off the fastest lap of the race, getting faster as the race progresses with a 1 minute 8 second .26. So great to see the guys getting quicker and quicker out here today. Nobody having any too big of problems. Nick Terrell still about 3.2 seconds off from Kai Demarest, but he's gaining a whole lot of time here. As Demarest must have had a problem because he lost a whole lot of time. That's what it was. He was getting around lap traffic. Now Terrell kind of fell victim to that as well earlier today and was not able to cut through the Daytona Prototype drivers as smoothly as Demarest, or maybe as aggressively is the best way to express it. That's going to be Jason Connolly, the number 66 machine, who will go a lap down to all three of the highest placing LMP2 drivers. Connolly still leading his class, the GT1, a 38-second advantage over second place in his class. So the race leaders here today are getting out front and racing very, very strong. But are we going to see Terrell, number 81 machine, catch up to Demarest in the 42? These drivers have less than 10 minutes remaining as Terrell finds himself about 2 seconds back from the number 42 driver. Nine minutes left in today's race as Daniel Beauchamp with his season opener, her season debut, clicking it off, making it look easy. But the story on track right now is Terrell and Demarest. These guys always run very close together all the time. Are we going to see a final battle for the second place finish for our LMP2 drivers? Or is that gap going to be too much for Terrell to overcome? It's about 1.9 seconds remaining. All right, we're going to be joined in the booth by the number 69 machine, Carolus Steele, having to retire early here today. Now, Steele, we saw you have to come into pit lane. Are you done for the day, or what is the status with the car out there?
Yeah, so sadly we're going to be done for the day. We wrecked out. Our sim rig had some malfunctions, and last minute I had to ditch the pedals and use the sequential paddle shifters for gas and brake.
Now, Theo, we kind of know the answer ahead of time as you are in pit lane, but how did that work out? You made it pretty far into the race, 22 laps. I mean, that's got to be pretty good, all things considered, right?
All things considered, yes, we made it very far. I'm thankful that it ended quicker than the full race, because that was brutal.
Well, hate to see it for one of our favorite drivers, the Alpha Ravioli Yoo-Hoo Racing team, not having the night they wanted, but hope to see you get that car and the sim rig repaired before we go to Twin Ring next week.
Yep, looking forward to Twin Ring.
Good luck, my friend.
Have a good one.
That was Carol's Steele number 69 machine having all sorts of problems here today, trying to drive around a whole lot of problems. But we're back on screen as Kai Demarest aggressively using the blink button to try and navigate lap traffic. As I believe that's going to be Jack Forsey they're getting around. Demarest is doing everything in his power to keep ahead of Nick Terrell. Terrell's about 1.9 seconds back at 6 minutes left in today's feature event. But is Terrell going to have enough time to make something happen, or is he going to have to run out of time here? He's got to be thinking he's got 1.9 second disadvantage to second place overall and in class Kai Demarest for our LMP2 drivers. Or are we going to see Demarest run into traffic and get caught up? Demarest has been quite aggressive all night, cutting through traffic. Really living the model of what you expect from our LMP2 drivers here on the iRacing service. But it has worked out for him so far, not sustaining any damage besides those self-spins or incidents with the other LMP2 drivers. But with 5 minutes left remaining, Terrell looks like he's willing to wait that gap just a little bit. Now the last lap by, Terrell was about half a second off the pace from Demarest, but that could be attributed to lap cars. And as always, we've seen plenty of things that should be certain or all but at the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction, where you've seen the leaders crash out all on their lonesome time and time again. Daniel Beauchamp out front, just clicking off laps in his Honda LMP2. For GT1, you've got Jason Connolly in the Aston Martin, making it look easy. The number 66 machine is 4th overall and 1st in class. And then you've got Jumpin' Johnny Eckert, the number 90 machine, leading Daytona Prototype drivers around here today. Having a fantastic job. That last time by, Demarest with a 1 minute 8 second .81 compared to Terrell's 1 minute 8 second .83. Both the second and third place drivers for class and overall clicking off almost identical lap times. Up front, Daniel Beauchamp just keeps getting faster and faster. He drops another record-setting pace, 1 minute 8 second .05. Beauchamp, a league of his own in the number 451 machine. As now Demarest is going to get behind. I believe that's going to be DJ Weeks Jr., the number 997. That is going to allow Terrell a little bit of a time to catch up. Can Terrell navigate lap traffic a little bit faster than Demarest was able to? Or is he going to get to be stuck behind the big old Corvette, the number 997, who is second in class with the GT1? Terrell able to get through nice and easy. He's still 2 seconds back from Kai Demarest with only 3 minutes left in today's race. Are we going to see a move from Terrell to get back up front? Or is it going to be Kai Demarest able to hold him off for second place? We'll check in the 4th place Honda LMP2 driver, Andrew Neri. He's not had the night he wanted here today. His first time racing the LMP2 for the Legacy Sports Car Series, a previous GT2 driver. He's clicking off good laps. I believe a lot of these drivers race with each other, their teammates, and really their competitors a lot in several different series, and sometimes coming together to run a big endurance series, such as some of the 24-hour races hosted on the iRacing service. As Andrew Neri is going to try and wiggle around Johnny Eckert. Back up front, the battle for second place on track. Less than 2 minutes remaining, so that's going to be about, they may get 2 more laps that are timed here. But Nick Terrell's going to drive the wheels off that Honda LMP2. He's about 0.2 faster than Kai Demarest his last time by. But he's got to be praying that Demarest either gets stuck in traffic or has a moment of his own to try and catch up and pass the number 42 machine. The sun is starting to shine here at Canadian Motorsports Tire as we get ready to wrap up our feature event. Less than a minute remains in the official races. These guys have put on a great show from start to finish here today. Alex Penn, the stand-in on the number 30 Daytona Prototype with the Skip Barber racing machine. He is still 3rd in class, 9th overall. Not a bad run for the first time out here in the Daytona Prototype this series. He normally is a Honda LMP2 driver, but he heavily damaged his virtual race machine so badly they were not able to get it back out on track this week. The team budget just not allowing for it, but the white flag is out, as we believe it's going to be Danny Beauchamp bringing home the win here his next time by, with a 50-second advantage over Kai Demarest, who is 2nd overall and 2nd in class. So Beauchamp out here today putting on a fantastic run for his first time running the Honda LMP2 here at the Legacy Sports Car Series. And the checkered flag will fly for Daniel Beauchamp, the number 451 machine. The fast Englishman takes the win and gives the fans a bit of a wiggle here with a very great run. Then it's going to be 2nd place. Kai Demarest, finally, he's going to take quite a while to get up there as he was about 50 seconds behind the race leader. Demarest should be 2nd overall here. Terrell sounds like he's limping it along here in his Honda LMP2. Not sure if he's out of fuel or what might have happened, as Terrell barely crosses the line. Jason Connolly is going to burn it down in the, very briefly, the number 66 machine. Is what is happening here? We've got 3 Team Goon Squad drivers and their natural habitat, which is normally crashing into each other and burning up some rear tires, as the 3 teammates separate in style, as 2 of the teammates got 1st and 2nd. And then the 3rd teammate, I believe, got 4th in class. But we're going to get Johnny Eckert up in the booth with us. Eckert bringing it home up front for the Daytona Prototype. You've got to be very happy today, as that was quite a good race and able to keep it clean all day despite a whole lot of tragedy among other drivers.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I mean, I feel like I say this every interview, but I didn't have any practice. I didn't get into the server until qualifying, and even then, it was kind of a crapshoot. I threw a couple setups at it and felt like this one was the one that was going to be my best shot at having anything for Jack. And luckily, with all the chaos that was going on, a lap car in my own class ignoring a blue flag in front of me, a GT1 trying to it seemed like at least pushing me back, trying to put me back to Jack, and so the draft would have been a big thing. I'm just glad to come out of it unscathed because it could have been a lot worse.
You did great out there. I know this is a very tough and technical track. Did you have any problems out there today or figuring it out, or did it kind of come to you naturally after you were able to get a whole lot of laps in here? I know these long format races, by the time of it, you should feel very well and comfortable with the track, but how did the track feel to you tonight?
Yeah, it was. I was struggling a little bit with it in those few minutes of qualifying. It felt like he was just oversteering, understeering a little bit, and I was trying to get it to oversteer, so it would be a little bit more in my control about how I could drive, entry and exit, but I didn't really get enough of it out. So it was a little bit tight, and coming out of like turn 1, I was struggling a little bit. But thankfully, as the race went on and as I got some heat in the tires, there was like a 10 lap gap where it felt like it was perfect, and then it started to fall off again. So I was able to maintain it, and a little bit of experience. I have a bit of experience here running in various vehicles too, so wasn't too worried about learning the track. I pretty much knew what the track was going to do. It was just a question of what the car was going to do as the race went on, because I only got to do 2-3 laps at the most in qualifying at one time, and I wasn't sure what was going to come out of it, but thankfully, Old Faithful and the my Road Atlanta setup came in clutch right at the end.
Well, great job as always, Johnny. Always a pleasure talking to you up here in the booth. Before I let you sign off and go celebrate with your friends, who would you like to give a shout out to that's supporting you behind the scenes?
Yeah, thank you for broadcasting this. I had a crossover on Jack. I couldn't believe we raced so clean, so hard. So I want to thank him too. I feel like it was a pretty good show today. I want to thank the admins here who put on this show, and yeah, I want to thank my teammate DJ who had a tough night in GTs, but came home with a solid second place. So good night for us in team points, and hopefully we can keep it going these last few weeks.
Well, great job, man. We'll hope to see you do well at Twin Ring.
Thank you so much.
All right, up next, we've got Jason Connolly bringing it home the top spot of the GT1 drivers. Now, I know, Connolly, you're able to finish a little bit more comfortably than you did last week. How did it feel out there today?
It was actually pretty good. Car just felt comfortable from the get-go. I made a couple little minor things just to get it to do what I wanted, and drove really easy. I couldn't say anything better about the car.
Now, Connolly, I know you haven't been running as much races as you wanted here in the GT1. Is it going to be something you're going to hopefully make at Twin Ring, or is it just when work and everything else allows you to?
It's kind of with work and everything allows me. The beginning of the season was packed with work. It's slowing down now, so I don't think I should have a problem making the rest of the season.
Well, awesome, man. Always a great time seeing you out track and gaining a whole lot of points. I know Twin Ring's coming up, and you've been getting faster and, more importantly, more consistent every time you get out here with the Legacy Sports Car Series. How did the track feel for you? I know it's got a lot of blind, off-camber, kind of weird corners. Is it something you quickly came to grips with, or how did you feel out there?
Yeah, I've actually been driving the track a little more over the week. I had another race Tuesday in GT3 cars that got me real comfortable with the track, and I was just able to come in, and like I said, I had a setup for the car that would just work from the get-go, and I was just able to drive it easy and not overdrive it like I'm really known to do. So it went well.
Well, great job as always, Jason. Again, we hope to see you at Twin Ring and keep putting on a great performance in the GT1 cars. Before I let you sign off, who would you like to give thanks to that may be supporting you? Friends, family, sponsors? The floor is yours, my friend.
I'd like to thank MasterCard for making all this possible.
Spoken like a true racer. Well, Jason, hope to see you up here soon, my friend.
Thank you.
That was Jason Connolly, your race winner for the GT1. But now we've got the man of the hour, the world-famous Radical Racer, showing up tonight and putting on a lesson of what makes an LMP2 car fast. Daniel Beauchamp, what a great run out there.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, thank you. It was a fun race.
Now, Daniel, we saw the other LMP2 drivers kind of get stuck with strategy and a few incidents here today. What made you so consistent out there, allowing to bring it home with a clean race car?
Probably just fewer distractions. I was able to pull away quicker at the start, so I think I just had a clean road in front of me. It was easy to focus. There was no one right in my mirrors threatening me, so it was very easy to relax and focus on hitting my marks.
Now, Daniel, we know you're a full-time professional Radical Racer, and you
Oh,
often
yeah.
run the LMP1 cars. Do you find yourself in the LMP2 that often besides this series, or is it just something you're picking up here recently?
Well, this is the first time I've driven this LMP2 car. I've driven the other LMP2, the Delara P217, a few times.
Is there
But yeah, this is the first time.
talking to just a broadcaster, I don't know anything about road cars. What's the difference between those two cars? Or is there one?
This one's quite similar. Sorry, to the newer one. It's got a much better corner exit, much better grip on corner exit, and the brakes are a little more sensitive. It's hard to trail brake. You have to be very, very gentle. But apart from that, the behavior is very similar.
Okay. Well, Daniel, always a great time having you up here in the booth. Good to see you out here up front and scoring it on the box. Who would you like to give a shout out to that may be supporting you behind the scenes to make you just so fast and consistent each and every time you're on the racetrack?
I want to give a big shout out to Team Goon Squad. Their famous leader is the most beautiful man in the world, and I want to give him a hug.
Well, that's your overall race winner and LMP2 winner, Daniel Bushomp, winning and making that extra team paycheck. He gets $5 every time he says that. But, Daniel, great job out there, my friend. Hope to see you do well at Twin Ring, and always a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.
What a great night here for the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction. We saw crashes, we saw great racing, and we saw a little bit of team morale building there at the end as we saw a whole lot of cars busting out the donuts, celebrating in style. As always, on behalf of Legacy Sports Car Series, Ledford Construction, and Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East, thanking you all so much for tuning in. I hope to see you next week at Twin Ring, same time, same place, as the season is only getting more and more exciting. Have a great night, everyone.